Hello, and welcome to the Legal Growth Podcast, where we dive into strategies, challenges, and success stories shaping the future of law firms. I am your host, Aaron Fulk, and together with Legal Growth Partners, we'll bring you in depth conversations with top legal professionals, industry innovators, and firm leaders. Our goal is simple: share practical insights, innovative strategies, and real world advice to help your law firm scale, adapt, and thrive. Whether you're navigating growth challenges or looking to boost your business development, you are in the right place. Let's dive in. This week, our guest is Paemon. Hey, Paemon.
Hello, Aaron.
Okay, say your full name for everybody.
Yeah, first name is Paemon, and last name is Aramjoo. And you said full name, so I have to give the full disclosure. My middle name is actually Lee Honest, which most people think I'm lying about when I say I have a middle name of Honest.
No, I mean that's pretty good for an attorney to have a middle name of Honest, right?
I agree.
Seems like a game changer. You use that when you're meeting people?
Only rarely. Special people like yourself.
Awesome. Well, I like it. I think you should use it more. So let's just dive in. Give us a quick overview of how you chose to get into law and your specialty.
Yeah, so how I got into law is kind of a goofy story. I met my wife in high school. We've actually, despite being relatively young, been together for 20 years now. And she had in her head this idea since she was a little girl that she was going to go to law school. And so, me having very little plan, decided I'd rather be with her than not be away from her, and chose to go to undergrad and then law school because of her. That's the short end of that story.
Okay, what year in high school?
I graduated in 2007.
But like what year did you guys start dating? Like freshman or senior?
Oh,
Those are two different now. Two
yeah, it
different
would
things.
have been sophomore year,
Sophomore.
sophomore,
Oh,
junior.
we've been together forever.
Yeah, for sure.
Impressive. So we got to get her on the podcast at some point
She would love it.
as well. And does she work in the firm with you?
She does.
Man, that's you guys are an impressive story. And then
Yeah.
how did you guys choose to get into PI?
Okay, so that's the more personal, long story. So we started our firm in 2014. And the reason we started our firm is because I had been interning at the prosecutor's office. And Aaron, I promise this was the true story of what I saw. I would go to court and I would watch defense counsel meet their client for the very first time in court. And at first I thought this just was an anomaly. It can't be the way it's handled. And then I'd see it over and over and over again. I interned there for about 2 years. And that was pretty consistently the experience I saw is clients and attorneys didn't have a very good relationship, which when you're facing losing your liberty, it's all the more important that you know your attorney and they know you. And so it was really a commitment we made in our second year of law school where we told everybody we're going to start a law firm. In fact, in my office, there's a little placard that says most likely to start a law firm because that's what the law school classmates voted us for. From 2014 till 2021, we practiced a couple different areas of law, but um, the most profound experience that I had that really shifted us to do what we do now, which is PI, is I was on a cross-country motorcycle trip with my dad, and in September 6th of 2021, he was unfortunately rear-ended on a motorcycle in California. And the reason that story was profound for me is, for one, it gave me at least a lens, some insight into what people go through when they're suffering a tragedy. Um, there were some amazing people that stopped at the scene. There was an off-duty paramedic. There was a motorcycle rider that just stopped to be present for me. And it was really remarkable how meaningful it can be to just be present for and with somebody. So for that year, from September 6, 21 till 22, that case was sort of pending. It was being handled pre-suit by a law firm in California. And I won't say anything disparaging about the law firm. They did everything that a traditional law firm would do. But what I found is, like at the prosecutor's office, it sort of lacked that human element. It lacked the humanity between getting to know your client and getting to know your attorney. It was very much more transactional. And because of that, Ashley and I felt like we needed to wholeheartedly go into personal injury and help people who have had difficult experiences process and get through it, not only on just the legal front, but also just the human front.
Yeah, that's crazy because that's the least probably thing that should feel transactional when it comes to law, right?
It should, but law is very archaic. It's very traditional. There's still this sort of ivory tower mentality of many attorneys of, I am better than you, and here's a clipboard and fill out your information. It's odd for many attorneys to think of the idea of taking your client out to lunch. And what's extremely important, especially for any area of law, but for what I do, personal injury, is we have to determine case value. We have to stand in front of a jury with integrity and sincerity and say what our client's life is worth. And if you don't care about your client, you can't do so. You can't make that ask with sincerity. It's all the more important to get to know your client and understand what they went through and how they went through it so that you can advocate for them.
I love that. I love that. So during this time, and it sounds like you kind of are starting to tell us, but what do you consider has been your biggest growth success to like grow your firm?
That's a good question. I think for a long time, I didn't appreciate the importance of having such a vital team and making sure that your team has all the tools and resources and ability to do their job with success, which put in our ballpark, Ashley and I, is the responsibility of doing good onboarding, creating good job descriptions, developing SKUs, making sure people have KPIs. And I mean SKUs, walking through how cases progress and each step they go through, so that we can empower people that work here to do their job and feel proud and in control of what they're doing. I think that's going to be the key to our success long term, is getting out of the legal production every day and making sure that we're leading a team of great people.
I love that. Okay, so what is your number one non-legal skill that has helped you grow as well?
Listening, bar none. Whether it be in trial, we're dealing with direct or cross examination, or in a deposition, it's listening across the board. It's so important, and I think it's easy to take for granted how important it is just to listen to someone's story. Not only is it really important to understand what they went through, but the power of listening and the effect it can have on someone who feels heard is so healing. It's so therapeutic. It's so amazing. And the craziest thing about it is we all have the ability to do so if we just pause and take in the information before being so anxious to give information. We can really make a remarkable change in our experience and the people around us as well.
And it's also probably how you kept you with the same woman since sophomore year of high school. You're a good
But
listener.
you got to ask her.
Looking ahead, what trends or changes do you see shaping the future of law firms, and how are you positioning your firm to stay competitive?
Yeah, this is such an interesting question. So, there has been this topic called the disappearing trial, and it's really been assessed and researched in a number of different regards. But when I ask most people, whether it be clients or even other attorneys, I'll say, what percentage of cases are getting tried of the cases that are getting filed? They'll usually give me a really high percentage relative to what's happening. They'll say 20%, 15%. Some people, clients may go as high as 50%. But the American Bar Association did a study on this and found that 0.6% of cases, less than 1% of all civil cases, are getting tried in front of a jury. And that number is really low, but it had never been that high. It was 1.8, but it's gone down dramatically. I've also had conversations with people that work at law schools, and we're finding that the large majority of students are going into transactional work. In fact, at about a year after graduation, it sounds like 30% of students are going into litigation, 70% are doing transactional. So we have a huge movement towards transactional law, and people are trying to do things like use data to try to figure out case value and how to settle cases. And I think that's the trend that I'm moving away from. We're very much a litigation focused firm. We think where we can bring value and where we bring client care is in the courtroom. Being willing to file cases, do depositions, withstand the pressure of settlement, and instead put our client and trust they're going to do good in front of a jury and trust our community is really where we're setting ourselves apart and where the trend, I hope, will shift a little bit towards.
0.6% is crazy.
It's really crazy. Now, that's just one token of the craziness. You also have to be aware of, and there's great entities like MATA in Missouri that give the opportunity to go to the Capitol and see how laws are passed. Laws need to be tested. People need clarity. They need to understand how the laws that are passed apply to them. And the only way we do so is by trying cases. There's a there's a problem in the fewer cases we try. There's real detriment to that. And many people would say, yeah, but settlement has clarity and settlement has conclusion. And that's true. But with any certainty, we're giving up something. Oftentimes, we're giving up opportunity. And we have to decide for ourselves, and attorneys have to make this assessment for themselves. Is the certainty worth what they're giving up?
That is, listen, I learned so much today from you, Paemon. I really appreciate it. You came
Absolutely.
ready. Came ready, and I like that. Okay, we're gonna get your wife on too, because I am gonna ask her that listening question, because I think you're probably a good listener across the board.
I hope so.
Thank you for joining us on the Legal Growth Podcast presented by Legal Growth Partners. If you enjoyed today's episode, subscribe, drop us a review, and share it with your colleagues because great insights are even better when shared. For more tips and tools to help grow your practice, visit legalgrowthpartners.com. Until next time, keep innovating, keep growing, and keep smiling. Thank you so much, Paemon.
Thank you.